Welcome. How do we install an HDMI cord? That is what we're talking today on our Practical Fridays for our Plots Geekouts. And let's get started here. So as you can see, we have a TV behind me. We have an HDMI cord, but what I want you guys to learn and know about diagnosing these kinds of things is, let's say your TV isn't recognizing your HDMI cord, and you want your cord to know, exactly what two devices it's plugged into so that it works on your TV. Well, to diagnose that, what typically you want to do if your TV's not recognizing it is you want to do a cold boot. So you want to unplug the TV, wait a minute, plug it back in, and then connect your cords back up. That relieves a lot of confusion for any kind of software issues if your TV's not recognizing it. So let's actually get into it here. I'm going to move my TV over here. And then the two things that we're connecting today, you guys, is we have the Xbox and we have your TV. Also be aware, if you have children, they might play pranks on you and kind of just like gently attach that HDMI cord, because if they do that, then your TV won't work. So it's really important to know how we diagnose these things, how to install the cords and everything. So we're gonna go straight through it. I'm actually gonna move you guys all the way over here so we can start working together, because that's what we love to do on a Practical Fridays, working with each other, figuring out exactly what we need to do, how we do something, how do we install that HDMI cord. So that's what we're learning today. So I'm gonna put my coffee down and we're gonna come with me. Whoop. Here we go. And we're on the side here now. Ooh, this is a different angle. All right, so we're gonna unplug everything for the HDMI on the TV here. So we got our HDMI cord. We're gonna unplug that. And we have that plugged into the Xbox right here. And we're gonna unplug that. So then we're gonna plug this guy in. Want to make sure your TV's plugged in, that's important. And then we're going to take our HDMI. We have 3 ports here, so you can plug them in any of the HDMI ports over there. We're going to go ahead and plug that in here. And there's actually labels on the side of what these HDMI ports are, so you have 1, 2, or 3 back here. And then we're going to move our TV back here, you guys. And then we're going to come back this way. Back here, and we're now going to turn this TV on. The remote is right here, so let's go ahead and do that. Make sure your peripheral device, whatever device you have, is on as well. We'll click that Xbox on, make sure that's on. We're going to sign into our profile. If you have a TV that you need to sign into something, make sure you do that, because that'll be very important. And then in here, if we go down to settings, we have a little settings icon. Sometimes you have to go over here to settings. On other TVs though, you can just go right into your inputs, because I have a little gear icon on my setting button on my remote. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then over here, you can see we have inputs. Can't see that. So we have inputs over here. We're gonna click on inputs. And then we have inputs HDMI 3, 1, 2, and 3. So wherever you plugged in that cord, you guys, wherever you plugged in that cord is the input you want to go to. So if I double check where I plugged that in, that was, unplug it to read the label, that was an HDMI 3. We're going to plug that guy back in. Now we know where to go, because we have to line up exactly where we plug that HDMI cable into to the exact input on the TV. So if we go in there, I'm going to click the gear icon here, go back to that input list, and now we know it's plugged in on 3, we need to be on HDMI 3, and we click on that guy there. So now it's saying it's not on because my Xbox turned off. So you see how this diagnosing is super important? Why isn't this working? Well, now we know why, because the peripheral device that we plugged into isn't working. It's not on. So we're going to turn that Xbox back on. Here. Might take a second. If you don't see it pop up right away, it's okay. You just got to wait for a little bit. And now we're on Xbox. Isn't that amazing? So yeah, that's how you connect your HDMI cord. You want to make sure you match it up to the exact input that you're on. And then also, you want to make sure that your TV is recognizing that input, right? So if it isn't, then you'd have to power cycle that TV and plug it back in. Or let's say you had a bad port, you guys, on that HDMI port where it's plugged into. Let's say it was bad or something. Then you would have to try to use a different port on your TV. I've had a lot of experiences with customers calling in when I worked at the internet service provider, and they would call in and be like, my TV won't work at all. I'm like, did you unplug it and leave it sit for a little bit and plug it back in? Because that's usually what happens, is it's just not recognizing that HDMI. When I had customers that called in for cable issues, they'd be like, my cable's out. I'm like, well, did you reboot your device? Did you check your inputs? Did you do these sort of things? And I kind of walk them through straight exactly in that process what that looks like so we can get their stuff working. Because I want to help you guys be able to navigate your technology, really understand what's going on, reconnect with your loved ones, your family, your friends. That's what we're all about here. So we got everything set up. And any questions that you guys have, we're going to enter our Q&A time of installing an HDMI cord. So any kind of questions that you guys have, go ahead and ask those now. If you're just coming on with Practical Fridays, we just learned how to install an HDMI cord, how to diagnose standard things that happen with HDMI. So if you have any questions here, go ahead and put that in the chat. Any questions for our Q&A time? I will leave it open for another 30 seconds. Thank you for your feedback. That's very nice of you to say. Appreciate it. All right, well, we're going to head and end the chat. Thank you guys for coming on today. Thank you for being a part of our community PLOTS technology learning, where we're rebonding and bridging the gap, bonding generations together through technology with our family, friends, and loved ones through relationships. And today we learned how to install an HDMI cord. Well, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time.